Hi, this is Richard Workman, and my presentation is titled The Attack on Supersizing, or Negative Press Affecting Positive Changes. The purpose of this presentation is to give an overview of how media hype and negative press can affect a company's brand as a form of crisis, even though it can bring about positive changes through various media formats. The primary focus of this type of attack in this presentation is on the fast food giant McDonald's. The impact of societal changes and legal pressures directed by the driving forces of a collective social awareness and the information sharing capabilities through news outlets and social media platforms have forced many national and international fast food chains, with McDonald's at the forefront, to change or correct the way they market and produce their menu items. The multiple threats to McDonald's consist of loss of credibility, tarnishing the company's image due to a perceived lack of social responsibility, and legal action against the corporation for possibly promoting obesity through the marketing of products detrimental to the health and well-being of customers. News programs typically promote negative news stories, and when they generally only have about 30 seconds to talk about a subject, they'll promote the highlights or the juiciest points, which will sell airtime and keep their viewers engaged in their channel, kind of keep them locked in, waiting until the next time that the news will be presented again. Unscrupulous and uninformed reporting and information sharing can be a critical risk to a business entity's public image, so it is to the benefit of that entity to have a crisis management plan that anticipates and seeks to address the issues associated with that particular threat. In our modern society, the actions and intentions of corporations, non-government organizations, and government entities face greater scrutiny than ever before, with the advent of 24-hour news cycles and social media. Business entities especially face the threat of negative publicity, as the majority of consumers are now connected through various social media platforms, even though as a population we still get the majority of our mainstream news from major news outlets through television and radio, although the demographics associated with those venues are expected to change. The major news outlets know they have only a relatively short time to present a small portion of a story, so it is repeated throughout the day, and only the most attention-getting points are presented, which are usually negative. This is done to get the viewer to continue to stay tuned to the story, kind of like the same vein of this is what we know now, we'll give you the entire story at a specific time later, to keep their viewers locked into the channel and watching their commercials. Print news has more time to tell the story. However, it still can slant a story to sell copy, which is why we still get the occasional retraction. Other venues, such as documentaries and news series, such as 60 Minutes and Dateline, may tell more of the story in greater detail, but still only present a slight portion of the facts tinged with bias. Social media platforms and media websites have the potential to reach greater audiences, but runs the very great risk of the dissemination of false information and outright lies. It is through these platforms that companies will face their greatest threats, as anyone could inject unsubstantiated information to promote an unethical agenda, even from competitors. Social media commentary can also force change for the public good and cause companies to seek to better serve their customer base's interests and needs. Nearly all major business entities have suffered negative press and bad publicity at some point in time and some degree. The bigger you are, then the more attention you will attract for good or bad, depending on the relation of the incident or event to your company. The fast food industry has been a prime target over the years for several reasons. Labor relations, food and supply chain management, and product safety, just to name a few. McDonald's is the largest fast food chain in the world, with over 35,000 restaurants in 119 countries. This would stand to reason that McDonald's would be the lead target for any sort of media attack coming from lawsuits for not warning customers that coffee is hot, to labor disputes over living wages. This type of attention ranges from seemingly frivolous to the perception of a lack of economic and social consciousness on the part of the parent corporation. However, such litigation invites commentary from main media outlets such as television and radio, but especially from millennials which live on social media and french fries. And they are the greatest marketing demographic after baby boomers. While such legal issues such as public safety and employee wages are crisis points, none have been as ongoing as the food products McDonald's promotes and sells, especially after the turn of the century. Revelations about how McDonald's methods of creating menu items and the processes engaged to make people more addicted to those items began to really emerge after the release in 2004 of the video documentary Super Size Me. Several news outlets began pushing the story, including social media news sites as The Guardian, NBCnews.com, and The Washington Post, to name a few, which in turn put the court of public opinion in session. Through social media pressure, lawsuits, and seeing how the economic winds were blowing, McDonald's began a lengthy process of revamping their menus to better suit the needs and wants of their customers. The continuation of the stories as to how exactly unhealthy McDonald's menu was for consumers placed an emphasis on relatively positive effects of negative news. Undoubtedly, it is still fast food, which is never to be considered healthy. However, with changes in sugar content, elimination of trans fats, and the introduction of antibiotic-free poultry and healthier choices on the menu puts the company in a better light with the majority of its customers and has caused other fast food chains to follow suit in order to compete for market share. In this particular circumstance of public outcry, mainstream and social media presented a concerted force for change in the way a major corporation conducted operations and produced its product for public consumption. I believe that McDonald's Corporation eventually handled the situation correctly, despite the initial pushback through lawsuits. McDonald's crisis management plan has emphasized key elements in crisis management with regards to communication, determination of risks, transparency, and to be accountable and accept responsibility, and to provide solid solutions to address the conditions of a crisis. McDonald's has reaped the benefits of listening to its customers, and profits have increased as the fast food giant has made healthier changes to production and increased healthier options. Thanks for listening.